So, Hare Krishna devotees, Hare Krishna, good morning. So today we are going to see the 14th chapter, and here we are going to read and learn a lot about the three modes, right? We have now started, we've been hearing in bits and pieces about the three modes. From here on, we will hear a lot about it. So you will be able to actually understand what they are, right? So before we start that, let's start off with Mangala Charan. Just 1 second. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Om Anyanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Dadati Swapadatikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopeshu Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari.
Mataji, you're muted. Radhika Mataji? Mataji, you're muted.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So let's see what is the 14th chapter starts off with, right? So the 14th chapter, talks the three modes of material nature. It says it's called Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, right? Guna itself, you all know, right? Guna means three modes, right? And Guna also means, ropes, because we are controlled like ropes, right? So this is what it's talking about. So this is a very interesting chapter where we will see how the modes are working on us, right? So what are the broad outlines of this chapter, right? It talks about the liberation, right? How can we escape from these three? So that is the starting. And the second is the three boards, how they bind the pure soul. Even though we don't want to do, right? How will, they have an influence, right? Already, Arjuna he asked and he will also ask, right? How is we are forced to do things without our will, right? And recognizing the mode supremacy. Most of the time what we do is we believe in I factor and we don't recognize that these three modes are supreme. Acting and dying within the modes, right? So how do you act and what happens? Your karma in three modes, how do you do? And what happens when you die in the three modes? Transcendenting the modes, right? How do you pass? How do you manage to win over these three modes? Right? So Hare Krishna, let's start.
14.1. The blessed Lord said, Again I shall declare to you the supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained to supreme perfection.
Hare Krishna. So what does he say? He says that, again, I'm going to give you the supreme wisdom, right? So the best of all the knowledge. So what is this? He's always been giving knowledge, right? So I already told you every chapter here is jnana, right? It's knowledge. But today's chapter will be definitely lighter than yesterday's chapter and more interesting from the fact that you can relate why people behave differently or indifferently, right? And what is he saying? That today, whatever I'm giving is the best, right? Knowing which, right? Knowing this only you reach supreme perfection. Why is he saying? When you know why a person is behaving like that, when you have that knowledge, you will know what to do, right? Otherwise, you'll tell, if this person behaved like this, so will I, right? I will also, react in the same way. Now you know the modes which are influencing them, and you also will know that this is not the way we should behave, right? So that is a great information which we will learn here, and from this knowledge we will ensure that how another person behaves is independent of our behavior, right? Hare Krishna. So so we are starting this 13th. We finished the 13th chapter, which is generally about various, right, jnana, neyam and all that. And 14th chapter, we are starting off with the fact that how three modes will influence us, right? So that is how we'll take this to the next level. Hare Krishna.
14.2. By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature, which is like my own nature. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation, not disturbed at the time of dissolution.
He's very clearly saying, right? So one, by becoming fixed, right? By being very clear, what happens by becoming fixed in the knowledge, one can attain the transcendental nature. What is that spiritual world? Can you see this spiritual world is so beautiful, right? The Vaikuntha Loka is so pretty, and you'll see everybody has the bodily features and so well dressed, like Krishna himself. Why is it so? Because they the beauty is everlasting over there. There is no aging, there is no vyadi, right? And they are constantly involved in Sarveta, right? Something or the other they constantly want to do with Krishna. So they are so busy engaged in that. And hence what they are telling, that one can attain this beautiful nature, which is very much like his own, right? And thus established, one is not born at the time. That means he is not going to be born, right, when the creation happens, nor is he going to be annihilated, right? Nor there is dissolution, right? So he is eternal. So they are trying to tell. So this is our spiritual body. We mostly keep thinking, I am fair, I am dark, I want to be taller, I want to be slimmer. But the fact of it is, our spiritual body is million times more beautiful than what we see in the mirror or what others see us as, right? So that is something which we should aim, right? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Sarva yonishu kaunteya murtaya sambhavantiyaha tasam brahma mahat yonir aham bija pradapita. Hare Krishna.
It should be understood that all the species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. Bhagavad Gita 14.4.
So he is actually trying to clearly explain that all the species of life, right, O son of Kunti, is addressing him as, are made possible by the birth of the material nature, right? So we have this 84 lakh species, right? And for all the 84 lakhs is like the stencils, right? So it is available. But who is the seed-giving father? Who is doing that? It is none but Krishna. He's telling that Krishna is the one who actually has given birth to all this 84 lakh species. So he is the seed-giving father, right? Because he is created by his glands, right? So that is what he is talking about. Hare Krishna. So this is what he is saying here also. See, all these variegatedness, so many species are there. All this, who is the father? Krishna is the ultimate. Hare Krishna. Sattvam Rajastam iti guna prakriti sambhavaha nibadnanti mahabhaho dehinam avyayam. Hare Krishna.
Material nature consists of three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the living entity comes in contact with nature, he becomes conditioned by these modes. Bhagavad Gita 14.5.
So he is again iterating about the, see, basically Sattvam is mode of goodness, Rajas is the mode of passion, and Tama is the mode of ignorance, right? So he's telling Prakriti is material nature, right? He's saying guna, qualities. So the material nature consists of what are the gunas, qualities? Goodness, passion, and ignorance. So he says the moment the material nature comes, like when the living entity, Jivatma, is spiritual, ideally it has nothing to do with material nature, right? But the moment, he comes in contact here, right? So the child, even in the womb of the mother, is straying slightly away from that. But the moment the child is born, right? Like how you say, atmosphere has an impact, right? So the moment atmosphere sees anything, the tendency for the living thing to absorb and get adulterated is there. We tell that contamination, that's how it happens, right? So are we. So the moment we are on, in the material nature, anywhere, any of the 14 lokas, we immediately get contaminated or, influenced by the three modes, right? Conditioned by the three modes. Tatra sattvam nirmalatvat prakashakam anamayam sukha sangena badnati jnana sangena chanagaha. Hare Krishna.
O sinless one, the mode of goodness, being purer than others, is illuminating and it frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode develop knowledge, but they become conditioned by the concept of happiness.
So very beautifully he's telling, he's addressing him as a sinless one, right? And he says this particular mode of goodness is so pure, is so enlightening that it completely frees everyone from the sinful reaction. Right? So in the picture, in the visuals behind, you see the one dressed in white or gold represents the mode of goodness, right? The golden one. So what are they saying? That the moment it's so pure and it is so illuminating, right? The moment you come, it frees you from any sinful reaction, right? That this is, so that is the concept, right? So that is what it clearly says. It says, oh, the mode of goodness is something which is the purest. Hare Krishna. So beautiful, right? So he's very clearly showing, right? This person represents mode of goodness. And what they say, they enjoy nature, right? And things which are more relaxed, more calm. The mind is more relaxed, right? It doesn't react so much. So now we saw about Tatra Sattvam, right? The fruit of the mode of goodness. Now let's see what is the quality of Rajas, which is mode of passion. Hare Krishna. Rajo Ragatmakam Vidhi Trishna Sangha Samudbhavam Tannibadnati Kaunteya Karma Sangena Dehinam. Hare Krishna.
The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings, O son of Kunti, and because of this, one is bound to material fruitive activities. 14.7.
Hare Krishna. So very clearly saying unlimited desires. So what is the difference here? It is, the person is, we use the word passionate, right? And we feel that's a very lovely word. Yes, it is. With reference to mode of ignorance, yes, passionate is better. But what is it we are trying to do to go above, right? So you have you are like, you have unlimited desires and longings, right? You just don't have the satisfaction. So we can see relating this also. So even if we get 99%, right, we will not have the satisfaction. We won't hit that number 100. All the great motivational speakers, right? Hey, your life is going to change. This is all you have to do. Look up, and all these speakers will come under the category of mode of passion. All the managerial categories are mode of passion because their benchmarks keep raising and raising and raising, right? So this is what he is talking about. And what happens because of this, there is never a content, right? They will never be content with whatever they are in, right? There's never a satisfaction. They will go up the way. As I said, the benchmark keeps climbing, they keep jumping higher. You can see it here. So beautiful, right? So we are talking about the two modes, right? And what is the third mode? They are talking about tamas. Hare Krishna. So what does they say? tamasvanjanatam vitti mahanam sarvadehina pramadalasya nidrabhi tannibidnati bharata. Hare Krishna.
O son of Bharata, the mode of ignorance causes the delusion of all living entities. The result of this mode is madness, indolence, and sleep, which binds the conditioned soul.
Hare Krishna. So very clearly he's telling, oh son of Bharata, right? So why? Because he is from the, I already told, from the Bharata dynasty, Bharat Vansh, right? The mode of ignorance, right? Which is we talk about the tamas, right? Causes delusion, which means what? Confusion, anyana. Jnana means knowledge. Opposite of knowledge is anyana, right? And then what happens? Because of that, moha. Moha is delusion, right? You're so much in delusion. And finally, the result of that is what? You actually are complete, you're in madness, right? And indolence and sleep. So basically you tend to sleep, right? Because sleep, either physically sleep or mentally sleep, but eventually you sleep. So let's just observe. Hare Krishna. So where are the other two modes? They are there. If you see, when the mode of ignorance is there, the other two modes are struggling outside. So all you need to do is, just catch hold of one of the mode and move that one at a level, right? So for someone who's failing, they don't tell, hey, you should aim at 100 marks. No. You tell, hey, just work towards it so that you just pass, right? You don't keep arrears or you don't fail in any subject in your midterms, right? So you jump one at a time. Of course, if that person gets centum, they won't say, hey, no, how did you get centum? You were failing. No, that's not the point. But it's easier to jump or dive one level at one shot. So that is why, they are mentioning that. So this we clearly saw how mode of ignorance takes. Now the most crucial mode is the mode of rajas, which is the passion, because rajas helps you to go up, like mode of goodness, or it can even help you to fall down, right? So it can really work in favor or against you. So you have to be more careful at that, rajas. Hare Krishna. Satyam Satvam Sukhe Sanjayati Rajakarmani Bharata Jnanam Avityatu Tamaha Brahmade Sanjayati Yuhanta. Hare Krishna.
The mode of goodness conditions one to happiness, passion, conditions him to fruits of his action, and ignorance to madness.
Hare Krishna. So very clearly he says this mode of goodness, right, conditions ones to happiness, right? Where is the passion? He is always in action for the fruits, right? Now, Krishna consciousness is not about action, right? It is about action for the fruits which needs to be surrendered to Krishna. You don't think of the fruits for yourself. There's no I factor. But here in passion, they think of the fruits for themselves. And ignorance is total madness, right? Because you're just so deluded. So there's absolutely zero in that. So can you see the three levels in the picture, right? All of them are more like all the Devatas in the mode of goodness, right? And all the Rakshasas in the mode of, complete ignorance. So typically you see the kings, Kshatriyas are, and even Vaishyas, are in the mode of passion, but they will be more towards a mode of goodness if you're a Kshatriya. But if you're a Vaishya, you may be more touching towards a mode of ignorance. So these are the categories which they show, the influence which are played by the modes, which also have an impact in the religion. Hare Krishna. Little louder you have to speak, Ma. Your voice is a little feeble. Hare Krishna.
Sometimes the mode of passion becomes prominent, defeating the mode of goodness, O son of Bharata. And sometimes the mode of goodness defeats passion, and at other times the mode of ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy.
So now we will ask, right? Am I born with a particular mode? Yes. Will all the mode, so if I'm born in the mode of goodness, will I always be in the mode of goodness? irrespective of whichever mode you're born or whichever family you're in, what happens is these three modes are competing, completely, always competing. As I always say, look at this picture with you. They are in constant competition who has to take over this, right? And therefore, this particular competition depends on who wins and who is deciding the winner of the competition, or who is a facilitator of the competition, the mind. So all are playing constantly on the mind. And when you will be able to win only when the intelligence is stronger than the mind, right? So intelligence is above the mind. So when intelligence takes control of the mind, and that's when you will win the mode, and that's when your mind can be your friend. You know, you'll just be going in roller coaster or whatever you call, right? Between the three modes. Hare Krishna.
The manifestation of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge.
So that is what he's saying. So he says, how can the mode of goodness one experience by, giving knowledge, jnana, right? Via bhakti, if you inculcate knowledge, then, you move to mode of goodness. It's easier. I always tell you, right? Smoking a cigarette, when they say don't do, you'll be confused because your mode of passion will dominate and tell you, okay, do, don't do, it's struggling there. But when you know it's going to result in cancer or something, so anybody, who's given that knowledge and the person is sensible will go into mode of goodness, right? But if that is also not understood, it means that the person is in the mode of ignorance. That's a classic example. So knowledge is the solution. Hare Krishna.
O chief of the Bharatas, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachment, uncontrollable desire, hankering, and intense endeavor develop.
So what happens when there is a mode of passion, right? There's a great attachment. You just can't control anything. There is a long desire. There is hankering, and there is very intense endeavor. It's very intense. You can feel it, right? They will say, right, I can't breathe. I need to achieve. Like you see, classically, even sportsmen, martial artists, like even Bruce Lee will say, right? They keep fighting, and finally he falls off. The story of Bruce Lee, right? And when the coach says, right, it's fine, we'll end it here. He says, no, we will begin here. Because he says, till now I'm at ground zero, right? I've fallen. So which means that all my enemies will also be as exhausted. So I don't have any leverage, right? I'm just right here. So I will start here. So what is happening is, they have this uncontrolled desires, intense. It's so intense that nothing can stop them. They will just go for it, right? So you also say it, right? Hit it. Come on, let's do it. All these represent the mode of, passion, right? So and it's also something they'll hanker, either name, pride, fame, money, but it is just so much hankering that hankering keeps them going. Hare Krishna.
O son of Kuru, when there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, madness, illusion, inertia, and darkness are manifested.
So what is he saying? There is an increase in the mode of ignorance, right? So basically when tamas is down, madness, illusion, inertia, and darkness, right? So we always say Krishna consciousness is not inertia, right? Because there is so much of action, but here there is absolute inaction, right? So madness, so you're mad, you just don't know what to do, right? And you're always illusion, right? You feel, oh, this is right. Maybe, life is not great. What is the point in working? These kind of illusions, you have your own assumption. Anyway, if you don't work also, if you don't study also, there are so many people who don't study, but they have become very successful. Where is all this coming up from? Right? Have you not heard? Sometimes your heart also says, do I really have to study? Hey, come on, yaar. I go to YouTube, I can make millions of rupees. Hey, do actresses and actors and models are studying? They're all 10th fail, but they are the billionaires and millionaires. All these are mind words talking and turning you against, and that is illusion, right? Inertia.
When one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains to the pure higher planets.
So what are they telling? When one dies in a particular mode, right, in the mode of goodness, he attains the highest, he attains to the pure higher planets, right? So clearly, if someone is pious, we keep asking, right? If or not in Krishna conscious, doesn't matter. It's a second point, right? When you're in Krishna conscious, you have a chance of Vaikuntha. But if somebody dies in the mode of goodness, right, at that level. So to go to Krishna conscious, to go to Vaikuntha Lok or Goloka, you need to be above the three modes, right? Which means Sutta Sattva, pure mode of goodness. Here, if you're just in the mode of goodness, that is Sattva Gunam, what happens? You go to all the higher planets, right? Swargam, you go to heaven, they say. So this is what it is.
When one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities, and when he dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom.
Very clearly says if someone dies, if we die in the mode of passion, we will be engaged in fruitive activities, right? Like businessman, because that's the mode we are in, like goldsmith. These kind of things are what we are looking for, and we'll land up there. But if somebody is in mode of ignorance, let's say, for example, somebody wants to constantly sleep for 12 hours a day, that is mode of ignorance. And what is it related to? What is it related? It relates to the bear. Why? Because a bear can sleep, right? It can go into hibernation, which we can't. So it has a better body, right, to suit, and you can enjoy that body because that's more apt. And now, because we can eating, right? We only enjoy to some extent eating. Beyond the point, we just don't enjoy it further. But if you take animals, they enjoy, they just endlessly can eat anything. Example, if you eat everything Tom where which is not allowed for you, or then it's best to be a pig, right? Because pig can even eat a stool. That body is more apt because you can relish eating anything and everything. So that is the speciality. Hare Krishna. Karmana sukritasyahu savikam nirmalam palam rajastu palam dukkham Jnanam tamasat palam. Hare Krishna.
By acting in the mode of goodness, one becomes purified. Works done in the mode of passion result in distress, and action performed in the mode of ignorance result in foolishness.
So what are they saying? He's saying by working in the mode of goodness, right? Obviously, one gets purified. So what is working in goodness? Going to all these spiritual places, they get into complete goodness. So work when you do, it creates distress in passion, right? Because there's constant anchoring. The goals are set, you want to crave higher, you want to go higher position. So there is constant acting. And anything performed in the mode of ignorance, right? If you do in a total mode of ignorance, right? You just don't know what to do and you're just so confused what to do, right? If you are in that mode, what happens? It's totally, you land up in absolute foolishness, right? You don't succeed at all. You fall down. So the action performed in the mode of ignorance, does not have any victory at all. You actually tend to keep degrading. So that is what he's saying, right? Because it is not going to help you at all. So it creates constant distress, right? So it's not helping. So that is what is said, right? It only results in complete destruction of yourself.
From the mode of goodness, real knowledge develops. From the mode of passion, grief develops. And from the mode of ignorance, foolishness, madness, and illusion develop.
Very clearly, see, look at the picture of this boy, right? So clean, cool, right? Look at the same person, which is us, right? Look at how the facial expressions change. So when you're in the mode of goodness, right, real knowledge develops, right? Because you know how to be and you understand, and that's why you're able to transcend the other modes. But in passion, what happens? You're constantly in grief, right? You're grieving because you want a desire, and that desire we saw, right? Kama moha, right? So you don't get liberated from there. You're constantly lamenting for something which you have not received, right? And the next one is ignorance, right? You're always in illusion, which we already saw. You're foolish, you're stressed, you're in madness, and you're just not bothered, right? So that is what. So all the expressions, can you see? Irrespective of the age, these modes dominate, and they do have they do have a major impact in the way you react. So that is what they are saying. Hare Krishna. Urdvam gachanti sattvasta madhye tishtanti rajasaha Jaganya gunavritti stha adho gachanti tamasaha. Hare Krishna.
Those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planets, and those in the mode of ignorance go down to the hellish worlds.
Hare Krishna. So very clearly saying, what is the destination of modes, right? If you are in the mode of goodness, obviously we told higher planets. Mode of ignorance, hell, right? Already spoken, there are 28 hells specially designed for people who want to go there, right? And in passion, they come to the earthly planets, right? They are eventually all three of them will come back to Earth, because this is like a credit card. When they go to higher planets, credits are over, they'll come back. They go to hell once they finish their prison period and torturement, they come back to Earth. But for somebody in mode of passion, they will directly come back, reborn into Earth, right? So that is what it says. Right? So very beautifully, how we want to go. is clear given here. So what is this? This is something which I explained, on during the chapter, and this is the Goloka chart. So all this, okay, is dominating, right? So what is happening? All the modes do affect all of the planetary system. So upper planetary system, you go if you're, this is what is higher planets. You go there if you have in mode of goodness, highest activities. Middle planets, you come back when you're in the mode of Rajas, which is the which you already saw, right? Mode of passion. And Tamas, you go to the lower planets, right? Very clearly, he is saying. Hare Krishna.
When you see that there is nothing beyond these modes of nature in all activities, and that the Supreme Lord is transcendental to all these modes, then you can know my spiritual nature.
So very beautifully saying, when you see that there is nothing beyond the modes of nature, when you understand, what is beyond the modes of nature, right? Anything which is beyond the modes of nature is Krishna, right? Currently, what is there, just like how my visual picture is showing, only the three modes are dominating us. But if you actually see what is it dominating, it's dominating on us, right? So they are like threads stretching us. And what's above the modes, which is also not clearly visible right now for us, which is why we are doing a lot, learning a lot of jnana. We're focusing on bhakti yoga because bhakti will give us the jnana to understand there's a beautiful spiritual world. And where is Supreme Lord Krishna situated? He is transcendental to all modes, which means the modes are under his purview and the modes can't control him. He is very spiritual and therefore he is, we will learn about his, the knowledge of his spiritual nature, and that Krishna is the boss of the modes. When we know this, what happens is what, 14.2 says.
When the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes, then he can be free from.
Right. So very clearly it says that once you are going to be in these three modes, once you understand the nature of Krishna, you'll be able to come out of the clutches of the three modes. Right. Currently, we are so bounded by the clutches of the three modes. Right. So how can we do it? We will just be freeing ourselves by, understanding the superior nature of Krishna. So that is the only solution.
When the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and their distresses, and can enjoy nectar even in this life.
So very clearly, so in these three modes, if somebody is able to break these three modes, then he will also break this Sagar Chakra, right? What do you call Samsara Chakra, right? Again and again, birth, death, old age, and distress, which, all this you can, Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, right? All the four problems can be overcome easily because you are an eternal thing, right? We already said soul. Soul, Atma, is permanent, eternal, happy, everlasting, cannot be cut, cannot be slain, cannot be burned, cannot be withered, cannot be moistened, right? We read the qualities of the soul. So many, and the size of the soul is also so tiny, but it has a spiritual body and there is a spiritual world, right? And you really enjoy that world. And that once you go there, you don't need to worry about these modes because the modes don't have an impact there. So let's hear the small video of Prabhupada. This is in New York in 1973. Technically, none of us would be born there. Hare Krishna. So just can you see how beautifully he is chanting and how nicely this is on? So this is the power of, somebody in the mode of goodness, right? Mode of goodness, right? What is the aim? I told the entire chapter talks about raising above the modes of goodness. And that is what I always tell, if you see Krishna, what is he telling Arjuna, right? In chapter 2, he says very clearly, Trigunya Vishya Vega, Nishtraigunyo Bhavajuna, Nirmando Nitya Sarvasu, Yoga Kshema Atmaman. Try to raise above the three modes. That's only very important, right? So that is what Krishna keeps reiterating to Arjuna from the second chapter till now. So let's see what he says in 14.21. Hare Krishna.
Arjun inquired, "O my dear Lord, by what symptoms is one known who is transcendental to these modes? What is his behavior and how does he transcend the modes of nature?"
So this sounds like, the second chapter, the last part, right? So 25th, 55th verse onwards, right? Krishna did speak about Sthitatir Muni, where, you had the tortoise and he withdraws senses. He already gave a glimpse of that, right? So I already told second chapter is the completion of Bhagavad Gita. But for reiterating, the balance chapters have come for us to get more jnana. So what does he say? Now, Arjuna actually has a question again. He's asking, what is the symptom, right? How will you, whoever has broken these modes and they've gone above, right? These shackles, what modes they are. And these shackles are so important because each shackle represents a particular mode. So if you may relate, like, if you're in a mode of ignorance, you're in the silver shackle. But you're in a mode of, if you're in the mode of ignorance, you're in a iron shackle, whereas silver may represent the mode of passion and gold may represent your mode of goodness. But end of the day, you're in a shackle, right? You're tied up. You're in a prison. So how does it matter? Why do you care which shackle you are in? You're still on the mode. So you have to raise above the modes, right? And so he very clearly is telling Paramatma is there in both the hearts. But how do we, in all the three, but then how do we know somebody who's already in that mode? Hare Krishna.
The blessed Lord said, "He who does not hate illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present, nor longs for them when they disappear, who is seated like one unconcerned, being situated beyond these material reactions of the modes of nature, who remain firm, knowing that the modes of nature alone are active, who regards alike pleasure and pain, and who looks on a clod, a stone, and a piece of gold with an equal eye, who is wise and holds praise and blame to be the same, who is unchanged in honor and dishonor, who treats friend and foe alike, who has abandoned all fruitive undertakings. Such a man is said to have transcended the modes of nature."
Hare Krishna. In management, you have this theory called the XY theory, wherein what you learn is the presence of something does not make you happy, but the absence make you unhappy. And the reverse of it is the presence does not make you happy, but the absence make you unhappy. So this is exactly what he's explaining there. He says it should not be affecting them, right? He says you don't hate when you are attached or when you have delusion. For example, when Arjuna was very attached with with Yudhishthira or Krishna or Subhadra, sister of Krishna, or Draupadi or his son, he never felt, oh my God, this attachment is such a headache. Because of this only I'm struggling. No. At the same time, when anything they lose, right? Yes, they feel bad, they are hurt, but they don't keep lamenting. It's not that, they don't have something, they keep longing. I don't have money, I don't have car, no, right? At the same time, when they have, they don't get scared. Oh my God, I have car, this is so much, this, I don't want this power, this is only creating concern. No. That's why most of the greatest devotees have also been kings, right? They've had the power, they've had all this, but they never lamented all the power. Oh my God, so much I have. That's why, I have so many followers. Because of that only, I'm not able to focus and I don't have time for Krishna conscious. They don't say that. So who is seated like one, unconcerned, being situated beyond the material reaction of modes, right? He's just seated. He's not concerned about any of this, right? Nothing has an impact on him, right? That is what is very important. And what is the next thing he says? That he who remains firm, right? He's so firm, he is not disturbed. And the modes alone are active, right? Like pressure, pain, no impact. Stone or a piece of gold, he knows the difference. It's not that he is a fool and he doesn't know, he knows the difference, but it doesn't matter to him. It's the same. Who is wise and holds praise and blame to the same, right? If someone scolds, we always say we take pride in being, if someone appreciates, and if someone curses us, we really react. No. So he's like a stone and piece of gold, right? It doesn't have any impact for both these praises, appreciation and criticisms, right? He's very wise and holds both praise and blame in the same level, right? Both does not have an impact in him, right? It's both the same. He's unchanged in honor and dishonor. That means whether he's appreciated or whether he's criticized, he doesn't have an impact at all, right? And who treats a friend and a foe alike? Very difficult. So the four things which he says: non-react to pressure or pain, gold or piece of stone, he doesn't bother. Praise or criticism, he doesn't bother. Honor and dishonor, and friend or a foe, he treats same way. And he's completely nishkarmic karma yoga, which means like completely all fruitive undertakings, right? He will abandon. He doesn't even need anything which he feels is against Krishna conscious, right? Such a man is transcendental the modes of nature. So clearly he says, who transcends the mode of nature? Hare Krishna. Mam cha yo avya bicharena bhakti yogena sevateyai sagunan samati tayaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Hare Krishna.
One who engages in full devotional service, who does not fall down in any circumstance, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman.
Very clearly says one who engages in full devotional service, complete devotional service, right? He does not fall down in any circumstances, good, bad, whatever happens, he doesn't fall down, right? And thus becomes level to Brahman, right? So one is completely engaged in devotional service, right? Because we always saw Maya, these modes are none but are the influence of Krishna, right? Because these modes are also reporting to Krishna. They are the external energy of Krishna. So transcending the modes, you have to come under the clutches of Krishna himself, his internal potential, right? So they are engaging devotional service, which means we are going to connect directly to Krishna, his internal energy. He does not fall down in any circumstance, right? At once, no matter whatever happens, he at once transcends the modes. And this comes to that level, right? So that very powerful statement. So what is he next talking about? So now Krishna is going to talk about where he originates. Hare Krishna. Brahmano hi patisthaham amritasya vyayasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sugasya antikashya cha.
And I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness and which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal.
So he is very clearly saying that he is the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, impersonal, eternal, and is a constitutional position of the ultimate happiness, right? Because ultimate happiness lies with Krishna. And he says that the Brahman, very clearly, people, all those who are confused, whether energy is powerful or energetic is powerful, some of them come back and tell it's common sense, right? But what is not commonly available is common sense. So Krishna is clarifying very clearly that he is the basis of the impersonal Brahman, right? So this energy is also from the energetic, which is Krishna, right? So why are all this, why is he talking all this? So this is very important, right? Eventually, what is the aim of life? The aim of life is not to continue to be in shackles, to break the shackles and go to see the personal form of Krishna, and the energy Brahma Jyoti is also Krishna, and ultimately reach what is called the Goloka Vrindavan. So this is what the whole thing is about, right? And with this, we will end and continue. The modes don't end here. Till the 18th chapter, we will have a lot of things related to the modes, and please stay tuned to that, and please pay attention, because these are very interesting. Now, understanding the modes will solve 100% of your problem. I was telling you have to watch these sessions, but when you understand the modes, you will totally be convinced why people behave like that and why you should not behave in that particular manner, right? So don't miss a single session. This is going to be really interesting. And if you miss one, the gap will become very high to catch up. And currently, if there are any questions, you can go ahead and speak, so that, I can answer the questions, or else, the science and spirituality, we can move on. So if there are any questions, please go ahead. Before that, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.